Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Wednesday, March 4th. This is not Benny Hill. It is your place for helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions. And today I am so pleased to welcome our friend, founder of formerly known as Joke Race, now known as Confetti. Watch the rebrand. I'm talking about Doge Cat Matrix man himself, David Phelps. Welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
What's the Doge Cat Matrix? Can you explain this to me? What?
It's the new meme coin that Rise Up fully supports and endorses. Everyone put all of your hard-earned money into it.
Coin
it.
Yeah.
Coin it. It's got to be a coin.
Yeah, I will tell you what the Doge Cat Matrix is. This is my introduction to today's guest. If you're in podcast land, boy, you're in for a treat. Once again, I cannot visually describe to you what your eyes will see if you just go to YouTube and check this out. The Doge Cat Matrix is from a Substack article that David Phelps wrote July 7th, 2021, when NFTs were coming into the crypto vernacular for like the first time in a big public way, not just a bunch of nerds minting crypto kitties.
It says and everybody 6 likes on it.
Dude, and one of them, surprisingly, one of them is not mine.
6 likes, and Evan remembers this. Damn, dude. That's awesome.
I remember it because at this time, we were trying to come up with simple, helpful explanations for like what is the difference between a fungible and non-fungible token. Yeah. And David had this whole beautiful article talking about use cases of NFTs. It was a really good framework, and it was one of the first times I had seen anybody else also talking about what a provably unique programmable token could be beyond a silly digital picture of a thing. But I just thought this was such a brilliant explanation. It was very crypto coded, internet native. And I was like, surely everybody will get this. But apparently, they didn't. Here's what it is for the people in podcast land. In the lower right,
people did. Look at those likes.
Yeah. This is
some people loved it. Yeah.
Left to right, this is fungible to non-fungible, and then bottom to top, it's non-token to token. In the lower right quadrant, there's living things like Grumpy Cat. Non-fungible because it's a one of one, and not a token because obviously you shouldn't treat it, you said, as a currency. In the lower left would be like a toy, any mass-producible object. And then fungible tokens in the upper left, and finally in the upper right of the Doge Cat Matrix, non-fungible tokens, things like CryptoPunks, Bored Apes, yada yada yada. So it was just a really good article that unpacked the question, like, why are these tokens meaningful? What could they be? Intellectual property, doesn't that make them non-tokens? It was great. So thank you.
I totally forgotten that I'd made this, and I just had to kind of reteach myself what this is. Thank you for helping me understand this, because I was like, what is this thing? It's from 2021, which in my time frame is lifetimes ago. It's interesting thinking about where value has gone since 2021, right? Like in 2021, it was like the NFTs, so it was the non-fungible token. Then it went to meme coins, which is like the fungible token. And then today it's going towards like robotics and AI, right? Which is like the non-fungible, like non-token, which would say it's going out of crypto. So yeah, but it's been nice to kind of follow that, path over the past 5 years. Like you can actually see value jumping from frame to frame.
Yeah, I appreciate a good matrix. And did you start on Substack? Because that was a Substack article that you tweeted about. Okay.
I did. Yeah. So Substack was the beginning for me, and I was like, oh God, I have to have this fucking Twitter thing to. Am I allowed to swear on this show? Do we have like 6-year-olds learning how to trade crypto on this?
So there are some kids this morning with their families and parents.
Okay,
however, you can swear a little bit.
They stopped watching now. Yeah, I'm sorry, After Dark it tends to be our bluer show, but if you got to say it, just don't be too.
But it's like
vulgar,
the PG-13 rules where you get one, so you got to like really strategic.
Okay, yeah, I think I've already used it up. Damn is okay. Okay. Yeah.
Where do I really want this F-bomb to go,
Okay. I'll try to keep it G-rated, which for me means won't be able to say half of what I want to say, but that's fine. That's fine.
I understand. I've been in Boston for 10 years surrounded by Italians, and so I totally get it. Like how I talk on the show is definitely different than how I talk normally. And even my mother's like, "You talk different now," and she's like from Maine, and I'm just like, yeah.
What are you freaking talking about? I'm talking different. What? Get out of here!
What's going on? Yeah.
David, can you actually back up a little bit? Do you want to tell everybody, like, dude, who are you? What do you do in the crypto space? And
well, isn't that your job? Like, aren't you supposed to do that?
Yeah, but I gave you that quick introduction. I would love for you to tell us in your own words.
Intro, that's all you get. Take it from here.
Damn.
I
Okay.
actually don't know.
Morning show.
Like who? Yeah, I come on a show. Who are you? Why are you here? What
the hell are you
doing?
Who gave you this microphone? Yeah. You're writing on Substack. You're posting on Twitter. You founded Joke Race. Now it's Confetti. I want to talk about opinion markets, but I just want to lay the table quickly for people to understand your background in the crypto space and you as a person, so they can say, "Oh, I'm just like him," or "Wow, let's get him out of here."
Yeah. Please find someone else to be on this show. Which actually good use for opinion markets, but we'll get to that. So I'm David. I'm trying to dissociate myself from crypto now, as is everyone in crypto. Like it used to be that everyone, 2021, everyone outside of crypto wanted to be in crypto. Then like 2022 to 2025, everyone outside of crypto wanted to be outside of crypto. This is kind of like the Matrix. Now it's like everyone inside of crypto wants to be outside of crypto. No one wants to be in crypto now, including me. So like, we're trying to, invent new narratives, but I haven't done that yet. So I'll give the honest one. I started getting into blockchain stuff around 2017. I had another company at the time. I was building an ed tech and was able to build this fairly successful tutoring company, really by using Stripe. And Stripe just let us automate. We were like some of the first users of Stripe Connect. And being able to automate all payments meant we didn't need a secretary or an office or, an accountant, like admin tools. Like all this could just be automated, right, with programming and APIs. And it was kind of mind-blowing at the time. This is like, 2014-ish, 2015-ish to be able just to use code to automate everything that had been done by offices in the past. And that changes a business, right? Like in our industry, our competitors were taking 67% of what they were charging to clients, and then they were paying tutors like 33%, 34%, like 33% normally. So for us to be able to come in and not have all the admin meant that we didn't have to have a big take rate either. We could take 15% instead of taking 67%, and we could still be profitable and make a lot of money, right? And we could pay people better, and then we could get better people, and then we could have a better business, right? And then we could charge more because we had better people as well. So we could take 15% of a much bigger rate rather than 67 a much smaller. The whole thing really depended on coding finance, right? It was just the ability to automate finance with code is what let us build. So I started reading about crypto in 2016, 2017. And I will say Bitcoin is, I've said this before, has never really made sense to me. Like Bitcoin to me is one of those like left curve, kind of right curve things where it's like, the left curve, you're like, it's a Ponzi. Then you get to the mid curve, where you totally fail and you're like, no, this is the future of finance, digital gold. And then you get to the right curve and you're like, no, this is the greatest Ponzi of all time. This is as good as Ponzi's get. So like Bitcoin, I've never been excited by, I think, or frankly, just really intellectually understood. But when I read the Ethereum white paper in like 2017, it completely clicked for me because I was like, this makes sense. Like once you have this thing called smart contracts, which Bitcoin doesn't have, where you can actually implement code that will automate transactions between people. It's almost like a legal framework to ensure that transactions will go through digitally. Like that's what Ethereum really invented and implemented, was like actually the ability to code transactions, right? Instead of just manually sending like a token. Like
Bitcoin, I had a very
basically
similar experience with that, where like I heard about Bitcoin first before anything, and I was like, oh, digital money, like, oh, that'll probably be big, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then I heard Ethereum, and like I first was working in the AI predictive analytics space, and so I was like, wait, money that you can code on? I was like, what the hell does that mean? And then I started the entire night researching, and then I put all of my money I possibly had in Ethereum in 2017, and I was like, it grabbed me for the same kind of thing. I was like, oh, I feel like this does more. It was like more exciting.
It's so exciting, right? And I think it's still really exciting. Like, I talked about Stripe, and part of what I was doing in like 2015, 2016 was like a lot of phone calls with Stripe, like actual phone calls with people there to try to negotiate rates. And the issue was we had a lot of clients who had Amex. They were rich New Yorkers, and we were trying to get the rates down, but Amex charges a bigger fee than Visa or MasterCard do. I think it's like Amex is typically charging like 3.4% on a transaction, whereas like, once Stripe is bundling it and they can negotiate with, Visa, MasterCard, they're getting like 2.5% or something. But like the fact is Stripe was actually losing money on us a lot of the time because we had a bundled rate with them of 2.9%, but they're paying 3.5% on a lot of the transactions. And it was kind of shocking to me to realize like, oh, not only can I not negotiate with Stripe, but we're actually bad for them. Like, because we're using so many Amex payments, it's actually hurting them and bringing down their take rate. And so like reading about crypto, I was like, wait, this makes sense. Like Stripe is going to want this, it's like Stripe is going to want to run everything through crypto because you can disintermediate these credit cards and then they can just take, like a 0.5% rate, way better for us as a business, way better for them that they can actually ensure that they're going to make money and you get this disintermediation. And it's funny because, I had that thesis in like 2017. Then I completely gave up that thesis in like 2021. I was like, no, these credit cards, you're never going to get rid of them. They're always going to be there. Visa's going to do everything. There's no way to disintermediate this. Let's look at, cute penguin pictures that you can sell on the internet. That's the real use case. And so, like one of the interesting things about being in crypto right now is everyone in crypto is extremely bearish. This is the worst environment I've ever seen it within the industry, and for a lot of good reasons. But all the 2017 theses are really coming true. It was like prediction markets. It was like, disrupting supply chains. It was like, and then, smart contracts to be able to disintermediate these kind of like legacy institutions. And so you see Stripe now has its own blockchain called Tempo. Stripe also is just implementing tons and tons of tools across the board for all blockchains, including Ethereum as well, for onboarding and handling funds. Like Stripe is all in on crypto now. And it's with the exact same thesis that, I think, I was playing with like 8 years ago and I should have just stuck with, to be honest. It's happening. Like it's really happening.
Okay, there are a lot of questions and some of them have better merit than others. So I'm going to start with this one that I actually think I can't believe somebody asked it. David, are you still doing CalFund?
Yeah, so CalFund never existed. So yes.
So yes, I am still doing it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let you go find that on David's Twitter if you want to see all the comments and replies and stuff. I know what you're doing now, and I would kind of like to take it there first, just because I know we only have you for part of our time today. I want to give a chance to say like, okay, so this is the worst environment for builders. And yet you're still here. You're building.
No, I think it's the best environment for builders.
Okay. I wanted to ask you.
I would just say like, psychologically, in terms of like enthusiasm around the space, it's very negative. That's always historically is the best time to actually be building and buying, right? It's always when things are down is when you want to buy. Everyone forgets this. You want to sell when you're up and you want to buy when you're down. And somehow no one ever believes that. Everyone believes, oh, it's down. It's going to just keep collapsing forever. So I think it's a great time to build right now. Yeah.
So you're building an opinion market. Formerly Joke Race. Now Confetti. I was just going to kind of like show it on screen, and I'm going to show the wallet connection process. I'll show the content creation process, but maybe as a accompaniment to that, you would narrate the journey and tell us why this, what is it, how do we participate, all that good stuff.
Cool. Let's do it.
Take it away. The floor is yours, Maestro.
Cool. So there isn't a contest that's live right now. In other words, where you can be voting and earning. But why don't we look at the one from yesterday, which is the greatest threat? It's the third one.
Yeah. Which is the greatest threat? If you want to play along at home and you're in podcast land, you can check out Confetti.win.
Yep. So this one is from yesterday. And you can see that it generated over $2,000 to voters yesterday. And so,
Papa!
We're currently working on a redesign of this page as well. This is the latest alpha, so it's going to be even smoother. But scroll.
And let me just say, the best redesign that you've made maybe ever is the decision to do dollars instead of ETH. I think that is going to make it so accessible. Yeah,
the last month has been really fun for being able to make this an accessible site for non-crypto users. So you have MetaMask here, but actually cancel out. I don't want you to use MetaMask.
No.
Let's pretend you've never used crypto before. And
even better. Okay, great.
So yeah, go to Connect Wallet.
Look at this. Okay.
You want to try using like your Google or X or social login, something like that?
Sure. Let's try it. Let's use my X. That'll be
Cool.
fun. And you can't see it right now, everybody. You just got to take my word for it that what's happening in the background is it's prompting me to authorize the connection to X, formerly known as Twitter, redirecting me back. Boom.
Show us
And
your
if you
Twitter
could
login.
Probably putting your credit card info, just like on the screen for us to see. That would really be great, I think.
Are you sure? You sure? Yeah. Confetti wallet, add fund. Okay, so now it's prompting me to add some funds. And is this like at this point I could connect a wallet or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure why it's saying no provide. This is a good note for Para that you're using. So you're now in the Para flow. Para is a wallet kit provider. Yeah, so you can choose ETH if you want.
Okay.
We have our own add funds flow also that you'll get to once you need to actually vote.
I've got no providers available. So let me try this for ETH. How about USDC on base?
No, I know what's going on. It's because you're in the Paraflow and we haven't supported their wallet providers yet. Don't worry about ad funds for now.
Okay.
So what will happen is if you actually now were in a live contest and you went to vote, we'd give you our own ad funds flow and we'd have you do that through Coinbase, where you can add up to $500 without KYC with just a debit card. And you can throw that directly in. So that's it. Like you could just create a wallet and then we'll prompt you when you need to. Cool. Okay, so let's scroll down. And you can see yesterday we have this market on what is the greatest threat to the world right now. And you have Russia, US, Israel, Iran, and you can see Russia won. China came in last. Interesting. Really.
Yeah, dang, look at this. Kind of a tight race between Russia and the USA.
It was close.
Israel way down.
Yeah.
Where's New Jersey on this list?
It was rigged. It was rigged by the entries that we put in at the beginning. We knew that the problem is that you put New Jersey in, and then everyone's just going to vote for that. It's not very fun.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's too obvious that New Jersey is the biggest threat. I say it's from someone from upstate New York. It's like you always hate your doppelganger. You always hate the person who looks just like you because they're the real threat. So
that got deep.
New Jersey, like also just listening to Fish all the time and getting high in the woods. Like, no, can't stand for that. On that side note. Okay, so what's happening here? So let's go back to the Confetti homepage and let's take a look at the contest for today.
Yeah.
So should the US be attacking Iran? The first one. So this one's coming up at 1 to 3 p.m. ET today. So you can see voting opens in about 4.5 hours. And you'll be able to vote no or yes. And tap the drop down next to price per vote. You're right.
Yeah.
There we go. Right there.
This is helpful.
So what you're looking at here is a price curve. So here's what's going to happen if you come and you decide you want to make some money today on voting on whether or not the U.S. should be attacking Iran. We can see what time zone you're in. Yeah, for you, this will be noon to 2 p.m. So what happens here, you drag your mouse anywhere along this curve.
Got it.
Yep. You can see what the price is, right, as it's going up. So this is the price per vote. So the price per vote gets more expensive over the course of the contest. And what that means is if you want to get a lot of votes for cheap, you want to vote at the beginning with conviction. What happens is when you buy votes, 90% of your money goes into the rewards pool. So, let's say you buy $100 of votes, $90 is going to go into the rewards pool. That's on top of the 246 that we already seeded it with as well. And then on top of everyone else who's also voting too, right? So 90% will go in. Your job is to try to vote on the winner. If you can vote on the winner, then as soon as it ends, you're going to be able to claim your share of the rewards pool proportionate to your vote. Yep. So you can see.
Oh, so if you're right on this, you could get $246. I know that's the total rewards in there.
That's the total rewards. You're going to get your proportion. But remember, you're also going to get a portion of everyone else who voted and was wrong. So if, let's say you vote yes, and it's close, and a lot of people voted no, then all of their money is going to go to you as well, right?
Yeah. For example, if in this contest, which is the greatest threat, I saw at the end of the contest, maybe let's assume that this contest was still live, and I saw that the U.S. was 100,000 or so votes behind Russia. And I could ascertain, with a little back of the napkin math or using the calculator that they've got here, then maybe it would be worth it for me to ape in 110,000 votes to snipe that extra like 60% of rewards. Or maybe it'd be worth it to like moonshot China all the way into first place because Russia and the US have just been seeding this pot of money.
And all that money could be yours, right? If you
so this is like prediction markets, but Family Feud style.
Yeah, I would, you know, the technical way I'd classify it, I guess. I like that. I think, like, you know, prediction markets, Family Feud style is great. I would say like a subjective prediction market, right? Like an easy way to think about this is like Poly Market, Kalshi. People are taking positions on, you know, like who's going to win the Super Bowl. An opinion market is for subjective outcomes, right? Subjective decisions. So instead of saying who's going to win, which is objective, you could say who is the best player, you know, who had the best fit, you know, what was the best tackle, what was the best pass, right? And suddenly you open yourself up to all of these other kind of community awards, you know, like subjective outcomes of like people actually deciding. And there's this fun game you have to play where the earlier you vote, the cheaper the vote, and the more money you can, you know, the more votes you can buy, right? So coming in early with conviction really lets you earn a lot more. But the longer you wait, the more you can kind of see the battlefield, right? And like what everyone else is voting for, and like, you know, what is likely to win, or, you know, as Evan said, maybe you want to come in and try to snipe China. And so if you wait, then you get like a little bit more certainty on what's going to happen. So there's almost like a risk reward, you know, kind of ratio that's changing, right? That at the very beginning, it's very high risk, high return. As you wait, it's a little bit lower risk, a little bit lower return. What's also interesting is if you wait too long, you actually can lose money even by voting on a winner. Yeah. So like, you know, the vote gets so expensive that you're way overpaying for a vote, right? At a certain point. And most of that money is just subsidizing the early voters. And you yourself, like, even though you voted on a winner, aren't going to make much. And that's really important, I think, both as a game dynamic, right? That you want people nervous and voting early, and all kind of playing this game of like, you can only make money as long as people are voting after you. So you like, you know, at what point is it going to stop? At what point are people going to stop voting after you? And they might not. Like, it might just get so contentious that people are defending their vote and they keep coming in. It's also important, I think, for the integrity of the game. It's like you don't want people just voting on what everyone else voted on in order to make money. Like, that's really boring. You want people to actually come in and vote on what they believe, right? And what they actually think. And so having them come in with this conviction voting style and making it a conviction market is part of what actually I think makes the results a little bit more meaningful, but also makes the game a lot more fun.
So if you want to create your own contest, or you want to play in contests, you can go to Confetti.win. It's fun. It's easy. They have right on the homepage a simplified explainer of how it works, as well as how to calculate your ROI. Because that's a question. Honestly, I was in the joke games before the rebrand, and I can remember everybody was like, you know, some sophisticated crypto users were like, wait a second. Explain it to me again. And David was like, okay, wait, let me try again. But there's lots of good, helpful explainers, and David is chronically online. So I'm sure he can answer your questions and we'll probably enjoy it. Totally. It's as simple as you create a contest. I've logged in with my wallet. You can pick which chain you want it to be on. They support a ton of different EVM chains. And then you can make a couple of criteria, like should entries be previewed as images or tweets? Anybody can submit an entry. Require titles for them. Once you're set, you can adjust a couple things about the contest. Like, do you want to set a higher price curve? What's the max on this, David, for this price curve? Can I do 100?
Yeah, actually.
20. There we go. Helpful little toggle.
The website knows better than I do.
You know, so that could be fun. 10 is the default. You can collect creator fees. Okay. So
let's pause on this one, because this is another key thing. If you set up a market, you can take 5% of all transaction volume on it.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're like a culture trendsetter, you're catching the news. If you were like Perez Hilton, I feel like this is how I would want to break the news. I'd be like, who wore it best on the red carpet?
Totally.
And I would give like 5 options, and I would collect the creator fees, and that would be my job.
Totally. And I think, like, you know, even a simple contest yesterday, right? Like, you know, what's the country's biggest threat? Generated $2,000, right? So roughly the creator, you know, makes about $100 on that. And that's a fairly small one. Now, imagine you're Perez Hilton, and you know, we've had contests where people are spending millions of dollars. So you could actually be making tens of thousands of dollars in the course of hours, right?
And I kind of, I know it defaults like when you're setting a contest to promote it and then do it a couple days from now, but I really like the idea of these like happening right now markets. I feel like somebody like iShowSpeed is going to benefit more from like chat. This contest is going to go live at the end of the stream. You have 24 hours. And somebody else might benefit from we're planning this contest for a week. Like, you actually used a joke race pre-confetti. You used a contest to determine like what chain should we migrate to, right?
Yep.
And you abided by the outcome. Like that was
we
cool.
abided by the outcome. That we're running them on abstract. Okay, so this has got to be less than 24 hours. So yeah, you're good.
Also, we had a couple questions from people, Roland, who just tuned in for the name of the website again.
Yeah, Confetti.win is the URL.
Confetti.win.
And it's live, baby. I am not going to seed rewards because I'm broke today. But it's as simple as that. I've pretty much filled it out like a Google form.
Just put in a title.
I'm going to put in, well, hang on. Let me do this.
You don't even need an image, but you can. You
don't even need an image? Well,
No,
I want to do this.
I also really like the mascot you guys chose, like the logo. It's just
oh,
like
Bubbles. Bubbles.
Cuter.
Yeah.
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Yeah.
Bubbles is the
Bubbles
name.
is super cute. It's like, what if a Furby was actually cute and not a monster?
Yeah, people were like Labubu. I was like, no, please,
No,
God. Ugh.
not Labubu, please,
Oh,
no,
not that. Yeah. So one thing you'll notice also in creating this is, there's 5 screens here. You could actually just go next. You don't have to type in anything except a title. The only thing you have to type in is a title, and everything else defaults to our recommended settings. So a 10x price curve, a 2-hour voting period.
That out.
Yeah.
So I've just deployed a contest with our logo for coolest host on the show. And so now you can submit entries for a short while. I'm going to obviously put Evan, Alex, and Will and seed all I can. I've got a lot of conviction. It's me.
Cool.
So I'm going to abide by that and give somebody a tiny little trophy and maybe some canned applause for whoever wins in the next 24 hours. You can check it out. It'll be live after the show. I'll tweak it. Set it up and
let's go. Yeah, and so you can edit your description, you can edit the title, you can edit the image after you've created it as well. You can't edit timing though, so I forget what timing you put. I think a week from now.
No, it's 24 hours basically, starting at the end of the show. So I'll tweak a couple of things, but you'll be able to go vote and earn and try this out. I like this, David, because I think it's a cool antidote to the. At first, I was like, oh, everything is gambling still.
Mm-hmm.
A problem I have with Polymarket and Kalshi is like how much they lean into that and how much they pass it off as like, hey, you need some money for groceries? Just bet on Kalshi. Yeah, but what I like about this is it's a great way to surface actual opinions by using that incentive.
Yeah.
About things that aren't necessarily objective. Like, no insider trading here.
Truth gets, I have a whole rant I can go on about Kalshi and Polymarket. You just press the button and we'll go down that rant about truth markets versus fund markets and what that means. I will say, like, for Confetti, I think about it as attention is actually the end game here. Is like, how are we driving attention to things that people care about, and like, how are you getting people to care about things, right? So like, let's take a really simple example. If you did, let's say, a contest for who should we have on the show, and you listed a bunch of options of like, letting people vote on who should be on the show. Well, then all those people might go and they might go on social media and be like, hey, come vote for me. Like, you're going to be able to make money by voting for me and I'll get to go on the show. And then you suddenly have all of these people who are talking you up, right? And they're all driving attention to you. They're also getting attention, right? Because they're in this feud where their fans are coming out and their fans are battling against each other, and it's good for them. And then, the other fan bases are learning about them as well, because everyone is coming and playing this game. It's like a Super Bowl style, like tournament, right? And so everyone's getting attention from this, right? It's like the people who aren't that well known and might not win are getting attention from the people who are well known and will win, right? The voters are making money from it, and you're getting all this attention from being able to have that, and you're getting the feedback from community about who they actually want on your show, right? And who they actually want to see too. And so like all of this, that's how I really think about opinion markets, is like the actual valuable thing is not even the outcome of who wins or loses. Like, that's the fun of the game, as in any sport. But it really is like, it's a sports game for attention, in which everyone is getting it, right? And everyone benefits.
Well, and when the votes are not that expensive, in the sense of like, if I wanted to express my opinion, I'm going to pay a gas fee. Somebody asked, what does this cost? You're going to pay a gas fee, and we would choose a layer 2 network so that it's going to be negligible. But then you could make your voice heard on chain in an immutable way for, this is 0.006 cents per vote. And then the max price per vote is 6 cents.
Yep.
So I think
you can buy a lot of votes.
You can buy a lot of votes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you want to put $1, totally fine. You want to put $1,000, also totally fine. It's totally up to you how much you want to put down.
My strategy for the coolest guy on the show contest is I'm going to seed votes for me early to incentivize Will to seed votes. He's naturally going to vote later than me. He's going to have to pay more to get his name higher. The secret is I'm also going to vote a little bit for Will and Alex so that I can hedge my bets, and whoever wins, I can make a little return on my money. I'm going to fund my exit with Will's liquidity.
Yep.
Question here. So first of all, fuck you. Secondly,
hey, language. There's kids watching this.
PG-13, man.
That was my one. PG-13.
That was his one.
That was my one. So here we go. I come here and I have found coolest guy on the show, right?
Yeah.
I come and I click submit entry.
Yeah.
And it brings me here. So it's asking me to upload an image, ask for a description about my entry, and provide an email. So is this just like information about my profile, or do I put my vote in here? So
great question. So we're in the pre-voting phase right now. Voting doesn't open for another 3.5 hours. So right now, this is the phase where the way that Evan set it up is that anyone can come in and they can submit the entries that you would vote on. So the entries here are probably going to be Evan, Will, Alex. So you might want to throw in your own entry for yourself with a beautiful picture of yourself, because if you let Evan do this, Evan might put in the ugliest photo that he can possibly find of you. And so this is just the pre-voting phase, right? Where it's like you're picking who's going to actually compete in.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like Tori could come in here and add Tori in that 3-hour window.
Yeah. And so a couple notes there. One is when you set up the contest, you ran with the default, which lets anyone submit entries. But if you want, you could also change that so only you can submit the entries, right? You could be like, look, I want to be the only one who controls who's actually here. So if we go back to the example of like who should be on the podcast, right? Who should be on the stream? It's like if you let anyone do it, it might get really interesting, but you might get some total weirdo who spend a lot of money you don't want. Or you could just be like, I'm only going to allow these 5 people who I have chosen, and I trust them. I want it to be a tighter game between those 5 people. The other thing is you can also delete entries anytime until the first vote comes in. So if a bunch of people start spamming this, you can just go through and delete them as the contest creator as well.
Yeah, and just to clarify, how do you guys make money on this? You take it's a 10% on the pot fee, right?
Right. Well, depending. So what I said before is, you spend $100, 90% of that goes into the rewards pool. So like $90 goes in. That means there's another $10 out there. Depending on whether or not you take your cut, we take the rest, right? So we would take $10, but if you want to opt in for creator cut, then we'll split that with you. You take 5, we take 5. So in this case where you set it up, you're gonna, if someone spends $100, $90 is gonna go into the rewards pool. You're gonna take $5. We're gonna take $5. And I will also say, Evan's played this game a bunch and knows this. A 10% cut is hefty. It also is to prevent whale manipulation. You don't want people just throwing down $1 million knowing that they're automatically going to be able to get that back and manipulate the game, right? If they put $1 million down, they're going to lose $100,000 of that. So they need to be very confident there's going to be a lot of other people putting a lot of money down for them to be able to earn that back. And that's really important to us, that we don't want whales just coming in and throwing a bunch of money in to manipulate the game.
Although I will say, friend of the show, Casey Craig, and I had a bit of a showdown during the joke games where that was the strategy. It was like there was a contest generating enough volume to make it worth it to slingshot your vote into first place from far behind to capture like all of the 80% share. And she and I were down to the wire, pushing transactions back and forth.
Yep.
And I lost some money. And Casey, I think she made like 2.5 ETH or something. It was not an insignificant sum of money that Casey
can
made.
Get hefty. I mean, the biggest contest we had, people spent about $1.5 million, and that was, you can imagine that was significant gains and significant losses, right? As a result of going that far. Someone I think went and borrowed against Aave and then took all the money and basically leveraged it and threw it in and then made like $40,000.
That's crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
Alex, Will, do you guys have any other questions about Confetti before I plug this contest one more time and get people to vote for me? Because I feel the topic change coming. Because I
look
know
at Will talking while he's muted.
Way more fun. Shut up! I just think it's a way more fun prediction market. It's just like
cool.
I don't know. It just seems like more innocent and fun as opposed to like high level intensity anxiety, severe gambling addiction kind of fueling.
I hope so.
Tidally crashing, breaking of pillars of society and building gambling addictions, ruining families, those kinds of things. I'm very worried about prediction markets and sports gambling explosion in America. So this just seems like more fun and chill.
Totally. Yeah. I will not go down the full rant, but I will say, someone someone I know pointed out, and they said, every prediction market is an assassination market. And I was like, what? And it's like, well, who's going to win the Super Bowl? Well, if you kill one of those teams, guess who's going to win the Super Bowl? And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like truth markets do get dark. And can get dark very quickly. Yes, being an assassination market. I mean, Kalshi just ran into this and I think they did a really honorable thing, which is they just refunded everyone. But they had this, they had this prediction market on, will the Ayatollah Khomeini be out, by next week? And being killed is a way to be out, right? So that was a proof of the thesis that it's an assassination market. But they did a really honorable thing and they refunded everyone. And I think they made sure that they weren't going to make money on the assassination market, which I think is a really helpful precedent, because that helps avoid people going out and killing others in order to manipulate the market. But you do run into this constant issue with truth markets where someone behind the scenes is just can manipulate it in order to affect the outcome. It's like, will Trump say this word? Well, if there's only a 10% chance he's going to say this word, then he can make a lot of money by saying the word, right? And so, it benefits a lot of insiders once you start going down that rabbit hole. I think about us as like a post-truth market. Like, there is no truth here. It is just
exactly what I would expect for you, David.
Right. of what people believe and what they want to vote on. And yeah, it's hopefully a lot more fun too.
Cool. Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, just I don't know. I think that I probably share maybe different concerns, but equal in weight about the whole prediction market thing, just because, I mean, like you said, it's an inherently flawed model that is just going, I only foresee it going poorly. Like you said, the biggest concern is that you're largely gambling on the outcomes that like an individual person or a small group of people have the power to observe and then change the outcome of in order to manipulate where money goes.
Okay.
And
keep going.
We already have seen it get used
Yep.
by insiders to make money on heinous things like bombing another country.
Totally.
Just happened. So in that sense, super, super concerning. This is interesting because, like you said, the actual truth or outcome really kind of feels irrelevant because it's not the point.
Yeah, it's not the point. Right. I mean, it can be nice. Like, if you get the feedback on who should be on your show, then that's great.
Yeah. I mean, you can choose to observe it, and then
you could also choose not to. You could also be like, who should be on our show? You all make a bunch of money. We'll get a bunch of attention, and then we're not going to follow it, and that's fine as long as you're clear about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It like you said, it seems like a more innocent way to run like a large participatory event, on chain or with money attached to it that doesn't involve, like one guy. I mean, like Trevor Noah made the joke at whatever events show or award show that was, like, hey, and if you had me saying potato, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I will go down the rant for a second. I do think that's part of the difference between Polymarket and Kalshi is Polymarket really is obsessed with this noble idea of truth and surfacing and, using probabilistic mechanisms as a news source. Which is also interesting because AI is actually very much in that discourse too. Like AI is a probabilistic tool of what, is the average of what people say in order to tell you what is true. And so we're dealing a lot with this kind of world where like probabilities are replacing news. And it's probabilistic. It's usually right, but it's not always right. And I think, that it's noble and it's interesting and it's theoretical, but it has all these issues that you're talking about, Alex, right? Like 100%. Kalshi, I think, has gone more degen. Like their marketing is not really like we're a truth market. Their marketing is like we're a fun place to bet on sports. And like it's interesting because sports doesn't have that issue. Like, who's going to win the game unless someone in that game is going to like actually materially throw the entire game for the sake, of the betting market, which there's many movies about this being done in boxing, in like the 1940s. But like that's fairly unlikely, I think, at like an NFL level that's going to happen. Like, in that case, the outcome is independent of the actual market itself. And so it's a lot, it's actually a lot less risky, I think, in terms of the ethical implications. And all you're really getting is a bunch of people being like, yeah, I'm going to vote on my team. They're not voting because they have insider knowledge that this team's going to be better than the other one. Everyone knows the same odds and has the same information. They're betting on it because it makes it more fun for them to watch, right? It's more fun for them to watch the game, and they have, same reason that like people bet on horses, right? It's not because they have insider knowledge about the horse. Hopefully, it's because it's more fun to watch the game. And so I think it's kind of interesting where it's like, in some ways, the more noble approach of truth and creating a new society actually is a lot more dangerous. Whereas the kind of more degen approach of like, yeah, it's just kind of fun to throw some money on your sports game, I actually think is like ethically like a lot safer personally. So I think we are seeing like this big division between Polymarket and Kalshi, even though they do the same thing in terms of the kind of audiences they're going after and the kind of proposition that they're representing on a brand level as well. And I personally would always rather be aligned with like, this is fun. Like that's always, I think, a better bottom line.
Yeah, lower stakes on the sports thing for sure than like which world leader is going to be out by the end of what week or who's going to bomb who, obviously. But still here. I mean, even if we forget the whole gambling on war thing for a second, which just for the record, I think is horrifying.
Yeah, same.
There's a lot of valid concerns about the sports betting thing too, even if you're into that. Just one of my friends who is an avid football fan, like this is one of those guys who is just like Wikipedia for football. You can just ask him anything and he'll tell you who went to what school and what pick they were in what draft, whatever, like everything. His immediate response, because I was watching a game with him last season and there was a Polymarket thing or reference or something like that, and it came up and he was just like, I'm really, really upset by that because it makes it really hard to trust officials, because they're motivated to, and you don't know if they're participating in a bet on a specific outcome, something more niche inside of a game that they do have the control over. For sure. And, like one bad call, refs make bad calls all the time, probably not going to get picked up and investigated, incentivizes, potentially nefarious activity by game officials or someone covering it, like who switches to a different camera angle at an opportune moment to not grab like a shot or coverage of a specific thing that then has to get picked up and argued about later, and then who cares, because once it's fire on social media, then whatever. And it was really interesting because he was like really, really, really concerned about it. And this is also a person who really doesn't like crypto. So, a lot of interesting conversations there, but I was like, I completely agree with your assessment of prediction markets. Honestly, I'm worried about a lot of things with regards to them.
No, it's totally fair. And I would say also, this is the history of sports, right? Like there literally are dozens of movies in the 1940s about boxing.
For sure.
Or you watch Marty Supreme even, right?
On the waterfront.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. But it is about, I do think the risk is scaling that, right? It's like a small market, versus a big market is a change in terms of how much you can earn and what the outcome can be. So, and just how much liquidity you can put in. Yeah, I would also say to your friend who hates crypto, everyone in crypto hates crypto now too. So there's actually, I think, real possibility for peace to be made between these parties.
We've had that conversation a lot. That like, look, you and I probably agree on most of it. There's a couple instances.
No one is more bearish on crypto than people who work in crypto. And have seen how the sausage is made.
You think you hate it?
Yeah. You think you know all the problems?
Do you think I like being here? Do you think I like being here?
You don't know 10% of like all the shit that is terrible in this industry.
Okay, David, I know that you have got to go at the top of the hour, so I want to give you a chance to plug your stuff one last time, make an ask. But first, I just have to quickly highlight this comment that says, Alex, Perplexity likes you. On RUMS HQ, most people would probably point to Alex Popovich as one of the coolest figures. And I just want to clarify, it says very explicitly one of.
Yeah, it's trying to protect your feelings. It's a cool classic cop out.
I think we know who they're voting for in the contest today.
Pretty hard to be cool when you don't make any content.
Sounds like
hard to be cool.
I think it's actually much easier to be cool when you're not making any content. I felt way cooler when I wasn't making any content than I do now.
Fucking right.
Now I know how uncool I am because I get the feedback. Okay, so give us a final thought, David. Where can people find you, and what do you need from us, and how can we help you?
I'm David Phelps. I guess I'm on TikTok now. You need to figure that out. x.com/divine_economy. Confetti.win. Come play today and decide who the coolest figure is here. The other fun thing that I didn't really go into is like, you know, you vote for someone, get your friends to come and vote for them too, because you can start pulling that together, helping that person win. And that also, I think, opens up the attention in an interesting way, where it's like you can, you know, find all those other Alex supporters out there in the world, and you can all work together. And finally coordinating Alex as the coolest person on the show, which is, let's be honest, that's the opinion everyone cares about right now.
He's
Wow.
pretty
Question
cool.
everyone's
He's got
asking.
some good
I would love to
tactics.
see. I would honestly love to see like a reality TV show. That's my dream. I want to see a reality TV show where it's like the audience votes, right? It's like you think about all the votes that are out there right now. It's like, what if you could let anyone vote instead of just having it be judges? Like reality TV stuff, demo days, right? Like all these, you know, Grammys,
Yes.
Oscars, like all this stuff could just be opened up in a fun way where it doesn't even need to replace the traditional mechanism. It could just be on top of it.
Did you ever see Proof of Love that they did like around 2021? I
Yep.
thought that was great. Mad Reality's DAO. I was like,
Right.
this is where NFTs are going. And
Right. And now that you can set that up right in like 1 minute through us, right, for anyone to come and vote on, you know, who should win on the dating show. So yeah, if you want to do any of these things, reach out to me. Always would love to feature people who are creating contests as well. And yeah, I think there's actually real possibilities to build businesses here, to be honest. Like, you know, to build the next online reality TV show with something like this, and I'd love to support that.
Okay, well, we will definitely be in touch, and go vote for me. Thank you, David, for your time, and we'll see you again soon.
My pleasure. Thank you,
everybody. Dr. Phelps.
Right.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I just used the bridge on Confetti too. I was like, oh, I wonder how the bridge works. Super easy, super simple. It was great. It was a great bridging experience. I just bridged between Polygon to base. It was wonderful. See you, Dave.
Thank you. Talk soon.
Excellent.
Oh, and really I didn't plug it on the big screen, but go follow David over on TikTok. He's got the same handle, divine_economy. And he said to us before we went live, he is going to double down on TikTok. We need as many crypto people who want to tell a better story about crypto to head on over there. A couple of things by way of transition. The first one is Chief Carrot Officer Bearded. Shout out Bearded gets a ding per Radio Dan et al. Because not only is Carrot at 5.4% right now, but TurboSOL is crushing it up 21% in the last 24 hours. It's at around 14 cents. So if you
Almost
caught
15.
that swing down to 9, got the buy, and then swung it up to 14, that's great. Shout out to Radio Dan for noting that.
I do forget though, because I remember, I know I've gotten the explanation before, but I go in TurboSOL and I'm like, wait, it's not priced in Solana. And so then I get like a little confused. I'm like, how do I figure out if I'm like buying at a good time or not? Can you guys explain that? Because I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
The simplest way to think about it is to compare it to Sol, because the price chart of Turbo, anything follows the price chart of whatever the longed asset is, but exaggerated whatever the applied leverage is. So like at this point, just because I look at the two charts next to each other so often, I kind of have this picture in my head like, okay, Sol is about to hit $90 right now. The last time I bought TurboSOL, Sol was in the 70s. So like I know that I'm up. And then, you know, regardless of leverage application, then that is the case.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I see right there. Yeah. The
You know,
chart
for the people, you can, this is an approximate 7-day, and then
and safely
looking
too.
at it about over here, it's sort of the same.
You can pick, take the amount that TurboSOL in this case has increased 22.15%, divided by about 2.5 or 3, and that's whatever Sol just did.
Yes. Sol is up 7.2%. So TurboSOL
Just
is up
about 3, yeah.
Yeah, 22%.
Yeah.
Well, my coffee cups of Solana and Ethereum are multiple coffee cups now. Because I just
Isn't that
buy
great?
coffee. Yeah, it's great.
I've been thinking about going in with some of my Bitcoin buy money to the Turbo Bitcoin product because I'm long Bitcoin as it gets.
Yeah, I just after playing with leverage more and more, I'm just like 5x leverage is fine, but like even then, like I still don't really like feel great with it. So it's just like, oh, like the swings up and down. If it goes down 20%, blah 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 blah, get liquidated. I just don't really like that. I just don't really like. I like being able to buy something and then just like walk away and worry about other things in my life. And so I've decided overall, like for me, I'm just not a fan of leverage. It just doesn't work for me. It just kind of like irks me the wrong way. And there's like, obviously you set stop limit, stop losses and all that kind of stuff. But like, I just don't really care for it that much, for me personally. Even though there's like more money making opportunity there.
You don't like making money, Will?
No, I'm pretty good at that. And so, like I think I'm good with spot swing trading, and then honestly these turbo products. So I'm gonna go take some money over into turbo products as well after playing around with leverage.
So that's all.
It's more hands-on than I really want to be. Like I'm a long-term swing trader. I'm pretty hands-off, and it's worked out well for me. And I don't like to just have to do things and maybe add some money here and there. And I can't be. I already used my F-bomb. I can't be effed with to have to worry about that. Keeping it PG-13. And so I really do think I'm just going to go use turbo products. I just like it more. It's more chill.
It's worth it to take a look at Hilo too, because that's an interesting platform. Obviously, Sol specific, and the benefit to Turbo over Hilo is that Turbo has more than just Solana, whereas Hilo only has X Sol as the applied wrapped leverage position. But they have some really cool stablecoin options too over there. I've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah. Hilo.so.
Also, guys, I have 10 minutes I can spare, and then some work stuff is kind of pulling me into another direction, unfortunately. But if you guys, I would like to do just kind of a quick update on the market right now, because things are really exciting. And earlier today, I bought a good chunk of syrup, and I bought a good chunk of Pengu, and it's all up right now, which is all good, great, and grand. And I think there's more to come. So I'd like to share my screen. Let's do a quick update on Bitcoin's chart, because it is a classic technical analysis breakout of what we cover, what I cover on my videos all the time, and what I cover in that intro to technical analysis trading course that we have out. So let me pull up Bitcoin here, and let me clean up the chart just a little bit so it's just a little simpler to look at. Let me do this. Let me give it some of these colors here. Okay, and let's zoom into the daily time frame. Okay, so let me make this a little bit bigger so it's very, very obvious. This is classic breakout zone in formation for any asset. Now, we have our lines of resistance that we drew here, right? This white line, this pink line, and right here 3 days ago, it all kind of started combining with each other, right? So this became a very impactful area of resistance and support for us, right? Where these two lines interconnected. And the classic move that we had is we had a first, kind of bottomish form here with a long wick to the upside. Then we had a higher low here with a bullish candle. This is basically a hammer candle. Long wick, the head of the body's up here. And then we had another higher low, long wick to the upside. A lot of body action up top, kind of like a hammer, right? These are bullish things. Higher low, higher low, higher low, long wick, long wick, long wick, okay? Telling us that the bulls are willing to come in at these levels, okay? That was our first sign. Now, the classic breakout example following that is you have a big move up that gets above some areas of resistance. So we had the 12-day exponential moving average. We had the combination of the lines that we've drawn for areas of resistance, and we have the 21-day exponential moving average. Bitcoin's daily candle closed above all four of those points. That's like, oh, sweet, we have a bullish move here. Now we need to wait for confirmation. And yesterday we had a scary test. You had Bitcoin go well below all of those areas we just broke above, being like, damn, maybe this is a fake out. But at the end, the last few hours of trading, Bitcoin got bought back above 1, 2, and 3 lines of our resistance. So we had a daily candle close. That's all that matters. It does not matter that Bitcoin's price fell below it. That does not matter at all. What matters is that the daily candle closed above our lines of resistance that we drew here in the 12-day EMA. And that told us, combined with a higher low, higher low, higher low, with long wicks, long wicks, long wicks, we broke above resistance. We confirmed it as support, and now you get a blast off. So you buy here, set a stop loss below, somewhere a little bit further below here, or you just let it ride with spot position, and you get to ride this bullish move to the upside. It is a classic textbook breakout to the upside, okay? And that's what I wanted to go over here. And Bitcoin almost always moves first, and then you go and you if you want to trade altcoins, go and take a look at some altcoin setups that you like. and then come on to the longer term time frames here, come to the weekly chart and say, hey, where's the next major area of resistance? Oh, we're really far separated from our exponential moving average here, the 12, the 21, and the 55. We're probably going to come up and retest it. It's been a long time since we retested it. That's Bitcoin at $78,000 before our first area of resistance. Okay, what about the monthly chart? Monthly chart also, if my internet would work. Anyway, the internet's not working right now. So
Hello, my darling.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my darling. We're really far away from a key exponential moving average as well that we haven't tested in a long time. So the monthly chart says that Bitcoin could go up to $78,000. So super simply, from a target standpoint, $77,000 to $83,000, somewhere in that range is going to be, if Bitcoin goes up there, we're going to be having higher and higher and higher levels of risk of us having a short-term top, right? But, Bitcoin's at $71,000 right now. That's an additional potential 10% move up higher for Bitcoin at the very least. What do altcoins do in that time, right? Could be potentially, an exciting moment. But I wanted to go over that because it is pure classic technical analysis breakout signaling. We are here to have a big move upwards. And if you had bought it perfectly when that daily candle closed yesterday, it was Bitcoin, you'd be up 4%. Or if you bought Turbo Bitcoin, you'd be up like 7% or something like that.
And then two things to consider that I would put out there. One, as we've seen in recent times, we can have a setup that looks like this, that all signs and indications point to being a more likely potential outcome than perhaps earlier. And then someone somewhere in a position of power and authority can do something bombastic, heinous, and awful and change the trajectory of everything on a dime. So that's why profit taking is worthwhile, even if what you're doing is not, selling out of an entire position. But like if you owned something from that very bottom, it's not a terrible idea to consider taking a little bit of it off the table and leaving some to ride and securing some of it. The other thing I would say is that this is one of those instances wherein we've seen a compelling move up and you may feel the desire to want to take profit, but you're sitting on a position that is still very much underwater, because if we stick with Solana, if it's about to cross 90, where it was like dancing around in the low 80s and 70s for a while, if you weren't buying it there, okay, let's say that your buy price is still like above 200 and you rode that thing all the way down. This is still an instance wherein if your forward-looking projection and conviction on that asset could be, well, I could see it going back down to 60 again, which, for the record, very possible. You could take some profit here on this local, like look at it in a little tiny vacuum, on this local pump, and then plan on actually deploying it the next time it's lower, which would expand the amount of SOL that you own and would also lower your cost basis some. So you can kind of work a position on one of these hyper volatile assets down from a really high cost basis that you have if you bought it ages ago. Don't have to. It is risky to do it that way. But in my opinion, and this is just me personally, when I look at a position that like I've ever held that's really underwater, I've already lost money on it. And who knows whether or not it's ever going to recapture and turn into significant profit from wherever my purchase point was if I bought the top and then held on to it. So it's at least worth considering.
Yeah. And my internet's starting to go a little bit, but this is good. Oh, hey, actually, it literally just came back. Wow, look at that.
Huzzah.
But I do need to run. But before I run, I would also just like to let everybody know that if you want to come and vote for the coolest guy.
Did you submit an entry
on the show? Well, I can't vote, but you can come down here and vote for the coolest guy on the show. Looking pretty cool. Here with my lady on my arm and my discos, my disco gear. So
Yeah, and listen, not to be outdone, if you refresh the page, you'll see there are a couple of other cool guys right there. And Mama B-Thang commented and said, actually, Tori is the coolest. So I'll have to put a Tori entry.
We specifically couldn't put Tori in, or we would just guarantee that we would all lose. So.
Yeah, but that's the point, Alex. You put Tori in, and then you buy $5 a Tori. And
that's not a risk I'm willing to take.
That everybody else is gonna do that.
Oh man, my internet is brutal right now. It's
I know
it's like barely loading your pictures. I don't know what happened. Yesterday my internet was crap and it was great up until like 3 minutes ago. So anyway, shame your guys' pictures aren't loading and not that cool.
Shame, what a shame,
cool.
yeah.
I don't know, crazy.
He's your friend and he's mine, Mr. William Watson.
I gotta see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Yeah, we will, if you're listening to this episode in the future, this contest is only going to be live for 1 day from March 4th, 2026 to March 5th. It opens at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're listening live and you want to participate, I'm going to go ahead and right now I'm going to pop the coolest guy on the show link. I'll probably change it to make the language more inclusive in case somebody does want to submit Tori, because I actually think that would be really good. Voting opens at 11 a.m. Central. Now, Alex, we have a lot of stuff that we can go to before we round our dogs. We're never going to get to it all. And so I want to know what you're most interested in. Radio Dan had this great question about NFTs and intellectual property and copyright. We've also got the Pump.Fun whistleblower. We've got this D-Best Invest comment about the AEU closing. What seems most exciting, interesting, fun, etc. to do?
Well, the NFT thing is actually interesting because it kind of ties into, I don't know if you caught any of the trust issues yesterday, but it ended up being really, we just did book club for the entire time.
Really?
Well, and the book is really good. My quick thumbnail pitch for it is, so it's The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto. You do not have to read the entire thing, although you should. You can get a pretty good idea of what the whole thing was just from yesterday's trust issues episode, which, by the way, I was still extremely firmly in nerfed TikTok jail following that restriction yesterday, so that was fun. But I think it kind of ties into this NFT thing, because the short answer to that question is not really.
Well, and did we read the question?
Did you have the full
Please
thing?
speak, he says, about the hurdles to get NFT creation tied to copyright law. Is it possible to ignore copyright law and still make money on artistic pursuits? So 2 questions in one. And the extra contest is Dan is a creator, especially a musical one, and would be interested in using NFTs to protect his property claims and generate additional revenue as people use the technology.
Yeah, so can you ignore it? Sure. If you're willing to deal with the consequences of doing that.
Yeah, for example, if I took a picture of the Mona Lisa and made an NFT of it and said, this is the first NFT of the Mona Lisa, that doesn't protect me against like the Louvre being like, bro, you can't sell that.
They would very easily be able to come after you for that.
Or if the Louvre created a wallet and said like, hey, we're doxing ourselves, this is our official wallet, and we are creating an NFT of the Mona Lisa, like which one do you think people would support?
Yeah.
Probably that one.
Yeah, so, you know, if the philosophical question that I pull out of that is, can I ignore the law? Absolutely. At your own peril, you know.
Yeah.
With copyright and NFTs specifically, you know, you're going into like a really niched area of a gray area of law. So, you know, it kind of asks like, well, okay, well, who am I dealing with? And, you know, what are the odds that someone's going to come after me for something? In that sense, you know, that's a decision that only you can make. There's no official legal framework to like tie NFTs to intellectual property in any kind of specific way that I really see as being necessary. If you create a thing and you can prove that you created the thing and you do the thing, which NFTs can help you do more easily and more assuredly, then sure. Yeah, absolutely. The hurdles that exist there are the same hurdles that exist trying to navigate copyright law in any other context, or trademarks or patents or anything of the sort.
I'm looking at an interesting report.
I don't know if any of that was helpful.
It is helpful. I still use it because I hope it will be standard someday. I have a NFT collection where I just talk about ideas that I've had as a way to like capture their provenance on chain. I think that laws will catch up to this, and I do think that probably, at least right now, NFTs are the best way to distinguish one digital thing that is provably unique from another. Better than like, the file information better than it's more immutable.
Well, a token is the only way to
the only way. That's right.
To assuredly differentiate between two digital things.
Yeah, I think there are some good talks about this that are happening, but we're still so early. I found this really good report to Congress from 2024 talking about like the feedback given to this particular like the Copyright Office gave to Congress, this particular committee, and was talking about future applications. I'll put it in the community. Alex, can I read you into this pump.fun thing?
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Check this out. So since we were talking about prediction markets, we're talking about opinion markets. I feel like we got to talk about pump.fun, the problems of our crypto space. This is something I saw last night. I screenshotted it because I was like, oh my gosh, this is definitely going down. This guy, Stack Overflow, whose account name is Stacks Convict Arc, has apparently been participating in a lot of shady stuff on pump.fun, can't take it anymore, and says, I'm releasing this information publicly because I have concerns about my physical safety due to my role as a whistleblower. He drops a Google Drive folder, and the contents of this folder are Telegram chats that he has had with the founder of pump.fun, Alon, several other insiders, and he was involved in the business, he says, of getting an incentive, a kickback from people who created a coin. He would talk about it, or he would do something to make sure it bubbled to the top, and then they would rug it and pay him for it. So he said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to put all those fees back. I'm sick of the crypto space.
I've made enough money. I'm going to retire, and now I want to try to preserve some shred of dignity by pretending to be an altruist. Is that the vibe?
That's the vibe. But listen to this, because this is a banger. Honestly, I'm sick of you people and the constant extraction and throwing other people under the bus just to get slightly ahead. The reason there's nobody left in this financial revolution, and it's because everyone who has any heart can't stand this any longer.
I am a
What?
big fan of this.
I know. It didn't even make sense, but I like that he talked about. I like the message. That he's right. Crypto people are the reason that nobody's here for the financial revolution anymore.
I'm saying. So all of my opinions that I'm about to share here are based on being made aware of that person in this situation exactly 19 seconds ago.
2 minutes ago,
when you pulled it up. The audacity to write that stanza in an expose after admitting that you've been the one doing this for the long time, unless it's included with I'm returning all of the money.
It is. And to be fair, this guy's in jail. He's been in jail for other like related activities for about 2 years, I think.
Incarcerated as we speak.
Is about to come out. So he is like doing this, he says, because, quote, these proceedings are one of the most important things to me and would be for anyone else in my shoes. So at worst, it is a motivated by capture change of heart. And at best, it is a sincere pivot.
Look at that. Incarceration reform worked.
Damn, man.
Man.
How did they do that?
Okay. That obviously changes things quite a bit. First, I'm not surprised. I would not say that pump.fun is the only place that does that. There are so many vehicles and instances of max extract, including the one that's being run by the frickin' White House. So, yeah, great, sure. Put a bigger spotlight on it. Like, now's the time. It's the bear. Flush out the trash. Let things collapse and fall and break and be exposed. All of it improves the space. Every time a spotlight gets shown on a gaggle of cockroaches, and they dissipate and scatter and get caught up and stepped on, great. That's overall better for everyone. You don't want the house of cards to stay propped up. You want it to fall down so that you don't build it back up in the same way. FTX getting exposed and all that stuff was good. They deserved to be exposed and brought down, and then there was fallout. So, dude, if we can prove that it's a max extract predatory vehicle for stealing money from people, then send it to zero. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, specifically, the allegations are that Pump.Fund knew about some critical vulnerabilities that would allow user funds to be stolen by external attackers and potentially by the team.
Wait. Time out. A startup fintech company built with little to no professional or seasoned cybersecurity experience had a critical vulnerability that exposed user funds to exploit and theft.
And they may not have fully fixed these before going to production. The PDF doc titled "Ignore It."
Dude, half of these things are just like vibe coded by a guy who had an idea with his frat buddy.
Totally.
Send it to zero.
Well, and there's also an allegation that they, in addition to these vulnerabilities, that there was a real like centralized liquidity control, suggesting that user funds were at risk from the team and also other bad actors. So, it's everything you say. And everything, we say we're not going to do.
I'm taken back in time to when you and I talked to the Pump.Fun guys, like before, like right when Pump.Fun went live, and immediately left. I mean, I think it's been years, obviously, but left it just saying like, dude, this is it's a nightmare waiting to be realized. And now look at every time Pump.Fun's in the news, it's not for anything good. They've never been like known for something good. It's a dystopian hellscape of insider stacked nightmare gambling. Then the last big thing that they were in the news for was the lawsuit. And before that, it was the live streaming thing where people were duct taping babies to planks and threatening them. And this thing is still live. Like, send it to zero. We're done. Can we be done with Pump.Fun, for the love of God? Dude, I'm so over it. Every time I hear about this frickin' thing, it's always bad.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go.
Morning with the wind in sky. Okay, if you've got a final question, a suggestion, a last-minute joke, a word of wisdom, or something else for us before we truly ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset, let us know. And then you got to come back tonight. We're live, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for Rise Up After Dark, the true blue companion to the morning show. We do not have a guest tonight, so me and Alex and Will are going to answer your crypto questions, maybe do a little altcoin or early stage company research. Maybe we'll bet on our confetti opinion market here. That could be the move, and launch a couple more. If you want to see it, we're glad to have you by. And we really do appreciate you for being the best part of what we do. We'll be back to round out the week tomorrow with more morning show. Of course, the show lives 24/7, and you can find all of our educational resources in the free Rise Up community. Community.rumshq.com. Somebody throw it in the chat for me. I would appreciate it. And then if you see us there, you know you made it. It takes 2 minutes to create a profile. We've got all kinds of other good stuff there, and the best members of our audience and community live there. Alex, what do you want to share as a final thought before we ride our dogs and ponies? You got a last question to answer?
No.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm very hung up on the implications of the trust issues book. We like kicked that episode down the road for several times because we obviously didn't run it for the last 2 weeks. But like I wrote my biggest takeaway, which I guess I'll just share as a final thought. So the book basically asserts that there are these 5 mysteries of capital, and each one of them has its own implications. So the biggest one that I take away of is political awareness, followed by legal failure. The two things are related. So political awareness can be defined as the lack of acceptance and understanding by the political ruling class that the lower classes can meaningfully participate and engage in an entrepreneurial society economy and participate in a capital market. They think that because they've specifically failed them legally to give people access to these things and vehicles to participate. It's like saying, it's like being in control of all of the cars and deciding who gets one, and then putting your job 100 miles away from your house and then yelling at you because you didn't get there on time, even though they control all of the means of getting you there on time. And then saying you're not worth giving a job to because you couldn't get there on time because I didn't give you access to the way to get there. That's kind of the basic premise. So policy comes in because we need to shift the way that we are looking at how policy gets framed. And instead of just using people who are underserved, underbanked, unbanked, underprivileged, whatever, as like a talking point to get brownie points when you're on the stump, actually proposing some piece of policy or legislation that addresses one of these things. It's not going to be perfect, but like every little bit can chip away at something. None of the policy that the United States is currently considering with regards to crypto does that in any way, shape, or form. It's all geared towards making the car that the really rich guy already has even faster. But it doesn't do anything to let you get access to a car. So that's why I'm disenfranchised and unhappy.
Disenfranchised, unhappy,
Put that in my
lightly
bio.
salted.
Disenfranchised and unhappy.
And maybe the coolest guy on the Rise Up Morning Show. Okay, my final thought is tell us the name of the book one more time. The Mystery of Capital?
Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto.
Okay, cool. The link will be in the community, and I'm just gonna do this. I didn't get to show this on screen earlier, but this is one of the coolest things about a friend of the show, David Phelps. When I asked him if he had a family, he said, yes, I have 2 children. I said, oh, that's wonderful. And he said their names are Pinguini and Jaws. And then he pulled up this video of 2 cats. And one of them, Pinguini, has been taught to play this piano that dispenses treats. And Jaws, he did not learn how to play the piano. What he did was learn to pester Pinguini to play the piano in order to dispense treats for him. So I ask you, who is the smarter cat? The one who tickles the ivories or the one who makes him do it? Or maybe it's just David Phelps who had these 2 beautiful furry children.
We may never know.
We may never know. If you want to hear more from David, you can find his links in the description. You can ask us in the community. You can come back for Rise Up After Dark tonight when we'll be hanging out. And until then, everybody, thank you for being the very best part of what we do. Stay safe. Be well. My friends, rise up.